everyone, and welcome to episode 10 of our podcast. My name is Manuel.
And my name is Elena.
And today's topic is Peter Pan.
Yes, specifically today we're going to talk about the Disney movie, so The Adventures of Peter Pan. Everybody knows Peter Pan. It's a fictional character coming out from a theater play. And basically today we're going to talk a little bit about the Disney version. So, let's talk a little bit.
We're following the Pinocchio example.
Yeah.
That was a little bit more specific because it followed the recent movie that came out here in Italy. But this time we will focus only on the Disney original film, animated film. And so, as you already said, it comes from a theater novel. It was written by J.M. Barrie, a Scottish writer.
Yeah, that's right. There are a lot of topics actually inside we already talked about. For example, yes, in the Pinocchio podcast or in the Little Prince one, there are a lot of topics that we already talked about. For example, basically Peter Pan is the youth character, okay? So the boy who doesn't want to grow up. That is basically the idea that every child has when he is very little, because they don't want to grow up. And they want to play, have fun, and etc. That was the idea behind Pinocchio and also behind The Little Prince. So we can see a lot of references here.
Yeah, apart from the topics or the themes inside of the movie, we can say that the movie released in 1953.
Yep.
So some time ago. But the quality is still impressive nowadays. It's been a while since the last time we watched it.
Yep.
And when we watched it again recently, I was really surprised on the flawless animation, and it was really good to watch. It's not one of my favorite Disney original movies, but still, it looked really, really good.
Yeah, if you think that it's one of the first movies, because the very first ones, such as Snow White or The Sleeping Beauty or Cinderella, were practically just let's say some tests to try to make something big. And here in Peter Pan, you can see, as you said, high quality animation. And I think that watching it in 2020, it doesn't seem so old. So I don't know how to explain, but I think it's very good. It's very good quality. So
yeah, I'm checking right now. It's number 14 on the Disney Classic list, and if you check the previous ones, basically the big ones are of course Pinocchio, because it was number 2. Snow White was number 1. Then you have Dumbo, Bambi. What else? Cinderella. Cinderella's number 12. And Alice in Wonderland is just the movie before this one.
Yeah.
So, don't get me wrong, those are all good movies. The animation is still good, but there is a huge difference between that kind of animation and the one that they decided to adopt in this one. So it's really well made. Also because if you compare it to other good Disney movies like Robin Hood, for example, that was number 21. It was like 7 movies after, and this one, it still looks better.
Yeah.
So that's really saying something about the quality of the animation of this movie.
I think that in Peter Pan there are lots of elements that are real, such as, of course, the London setting, like the Big Ben, all the view of London, the houses, etc. I think that was really, really great, and it reminded me the one that came later in some other movies, but here I think that the peculiar thing of Peter Pan is just a thing that is very connected with the real world, let's say. So you can see a real family living in London and basically starting to argue if Peter Pan is real or not. Because of course it's a fictional character, as we said, but it's a character from fairy tales that Wendy, so that is the biggest daughter
The
of the
eldest daughter,
Darling
yes.
family. She basically tells these stories with Peter Pan as main character. But we found out that actually it's the mom who first tells
Yeah,
these
the
stories.
narrator says in the beginning that she's the one who never stopped
Yeah.
believing in Peter Pan, even before the children.
Yes, that's right. So, and that's the idea we said before that is connected with the Little Prince. So, like forgetting that you were a child before, Mrs. Darling never forget. And her husband, on the contrary, of course, is an adult. He wants to think about his meetings. He has an important dinner, so he doesn't want to think about
Well,
Peter Pan.
he's the grown-up man. He's a businessman.
Yeah.
So he's really, I don't know, he takes adulthood into, well, big importance. So
That's
he
right.
wants basically, by the end of the first part, he wants Wendy to act as an adult.
That's right.
Starting from moving out of the children's room. So
Yeah.
That's a huge step into that direction, and of course Wendy is not happy about it, and maybe even the mom, even though she doesn't say something.
Yeah, she doesn't
She
say
doesn't say anything
anything.
specific about that. She just says that, yeah, of course, Dad's always pretty rough on the edges,
that's
but
right.
but he loves you, so
Yeah, so you better do what Dad is saying, basically.
Yeah.
That's the idea. Yeah, and so yes, you can pretty see this thing between Wendy and her dad. And then, of course, the story starts because Wendy actually has something that Peter Pan needs. That's what she's saying to her mother.
Yeah, she tries to explain that Nana, the dog,
Yeah,
took Peter Pan's shadow,
that's right.
and of course that he will be back because he needs his shadow. So basically, they're waiting for him.
No.
And of course, well, the mom doesn't really understand what they're saying, and the father
Yes,
even less.
that's pretty funny because I think that at the beginning the mother is just like, Peter Pan is just a story, it's just a fictional character, whatever. And then when she realizes that Wendy is telling her about the Peter Pan shadows, she realizes that maybe she isn't lying, and maybe she's, I don't know, it's very strange, her reaction. She's like, I don't know if I want to believe her or if I want to be an adult and just say whatever doesn't exist. So it's very, very strange reaction here.
Yeah.
And then, of course...
But it's really hard to understand really what the parents think, because of course you got the father's side, which is pretty clear. He's against any kind of childish things because you have to grow responsible and grow up, act as an adult, and so on. The mother is something in between. It's really hard. I mean, she's pretty empathic, I would say.
Yeah, I would say so. I would say so, yes.
So yeah, but well, it's not really that important because of course the story then takes a different turn, of course, because this is not about the parents. It's
No,
about,
of
of course,
course.
Peter Pan coming back, getting his shadow back, and bringing, of course, the children to Neverland.
Yeah, that's basically, of course, the idea also behind the fairy tales that Wendy was telling.
Yeah.
So that Peter Pan lives in the Netherlands.
Neverland.
Neverland, yes, and there are pirates and mermaids and
Yeah,
everything you dream about.
The children know already everything about it.
Yeah.
So even the youngest one wants to see the Indians.
That's right.
And also they use the term redskins a lot.
Yeah, a
and
lot.
that's pretty racist nowadays.
Yeah.
But yeah, in the 50s it was it was considered acceptable. let's
Well,
say.
there are a lot of elements that nowadays could be very
Yeah.
strange, let's say, and
Controversial.
controversial a lot, especially
Yeah.
the yes, as you said,
The
the
treatment
Indian
regarding
side,
the
yeah,
Native
and
Americans, yeah,
yeah,
it's pretty-
and
it's-
also the treatments towards women.
Yeah.
So towards Wendy, especially because she's a girl.
Yeah.
So, but apart from it, you have this wonderful island. Where there are also pirates, and they already know the existence of Captain Hook, who is basically the enemy of Peter Pan.
Yeah, I don't know if they already know. Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah, they
do.
already
Yeah,
knew.
that's right.
Because they played.
They play
they
yeah.
played
There's
together.
John playing his part, and Michael is Peter Pan.
Yeah, that's right.
So yeah, they already know everything. They already know all the background regarding Peter Pan's world. So yeah, they get to the island, and of course you have the pirates, you have the Native Americans or Indians, as you prefer.
Yeah.
You have the mermaids.
Yeah, that's right. You have a lot of things there, and
Yeah.
the main part is that you can reach this place just flying. So basically, the idea is to make happy thoughts, and you also need magic. Of course, that comes from the fairy, the Tinkerbell. So Tinkerbell has the magic to let you fly. So making happy thoughts makes you fly towards the Neverland, and there basically you can do, let's say, whatever you want. And the most important thing is that you never grow up. So you can see Peter Pan is just a boy who never grows up. And that's the same thing that happens to his friends who are just lost children.
Lost boys.
Yeah, lost boys, as they're called, that Peter Pan took there with him and stayed there because they didn't want to grow up.
Yeah, then of course we don't want to tell everything that
Yeah, no.
happens in the story, because I think that everybody knows Peter Pan and the Neverland Island and all of that.
Yeah.
But maybe if you haven't watched the Disney movie, maybe you don't really know what happens in the movie, because I think it's something more specific, I would say. So if you haven't seen the movie, yes, of course you wouldn't know what's going to happen. It's not so into general culture or knowledge.
Yeah, let's
Because
say so.
you always know about Peter Pan, you know about Wendy and and the children flying to Neverland. Everybody knows that, but then you don't know what happens in there.
Yes, that's right. So that's
So we don't want to spoil it.
No, of course. I think it's a chance. So you have to see the movie just to know the whole story and understand a lot of things, actually.
Yeah, at least once, and then you'll see. The balance of aspects between becoming adult or wanting to stay a child and
that's right.
be live without responsibilities, I would say,
Yes.
because that's what's about with Peter Pan. I mean, that's what he wants. He doesn't want to leave the island because he doesn't want to grow up.
No.
Growing up means having responsibilities and giving up some freedom.
Yeah, that's it. That's the idea. And the funny part is that actually the only adult characters are Captain Hook and the pirates, of course,
Yeah.
and just the Native Americans, so the let's say the
Indians.
boss of the Indians. They are the only adults inside this island, let's say. So basically, that's also very interesting. You can basically see that Peter Pan loves living there because he knows that he can play the whole time without having problems, basically.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that is a very good movie that everyone has to see at least once. And if you have the possibility, maybe also read the original story, because I think it would be very
Well,
interesting
that
too.
would be the best, I think.
Yeah.
But still, I think that if you like Disney animated movie, this is one that you have to watch at
Yep.
least once. Not saying that it's the best. Then of
No,
course
for
it's up to
sure.
you. It could be maybe your favorite. It could become your favorite. We don't know. But I think it deserves at least a watch.
Yep.
And well, I think that's about it. So we said
Yeah.
basically everything about the adventures of Peter Pan.
Yeah, we're going to talk for sure about other Disney movies in the future, but for now our time is over. So I think we can say goodbye and see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.